to BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we'll be answering about that team in our August 20th preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And Dan, tonight we are talking about the Forsan Buffaloes.
Yeah, and the Forsan Buffaloes, like so many teams we've already talked about and will talk about to come, will have a new coach in 2025, which is sounds almost unusual to say, just given how long Coach Phillips had been there and what a great job he had done. But they do have a new coach this year, and Casey Thompson coming over from an assistant role with Sweetwater. So a lot of kind of interesting developments there, and we'll talk about some of the biggest questions they'll be facing here in just a few minutes. But yeah, Forsan, it just feels a little odd to be talking about someone other than Coach Phillips coaching them.
All right, before we jump into Forsan tonight, we need to remind you folks to please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Remember, it's free. Hit the subscribe button and then hit that little bell, and you'll get notifications each and every time we come up with a new video that appears on YouTube. All right, and with that, Dan, the big questions, the big three questions that we'll have about Forsan. Go ahead and go first. Dive in.
Yeah, I think the first one it's kind of the same one we've had with almost every program that has had a coaching change is just what are we going to see in terms of kind of new features, new philosophies, new culture brought with Coach Phillips. He was a part of that staff at Sweetwater as the special teams coach, a very enthusiastic guy, a guy that I think will bring a lot of excitement to that program. Just what things are going to change? That's one thing. When you have had a coach for as long as Forsan had Coach Phillips, I think it was 16 years that he was there. There is maybe a little bit of a culture shock anyway. Anytime you have kind of a transition or a change there, so I'm just interested to see kind of how that transition will go. Forsan has some talent back with 12 lettermen of the 24 they had last year, 8 starters on both sides, so a lot of two-way players. So he's going to have a little bit of talent to work with, a little bit of experience to work with. But anytime you're taking over a new program, and particularly for a coach, this is Coach Thompson's first head coaching job, so there's going to be some learning and growing. We've talked to some of our other former coordinators and assistants who have gotten their first coaching job, and they always talk about just what a steep learning curve there is that first year. So I'm just eager to see what that looks like this year for Coach Thompson and the Buffaloes.
Well, there's good news and bad news for the Buffaloes as far as personnel is concerned. They have 8-8 coming back offensively and defensively, as you mentioned, but they've only got 12 lettermen, and that tells me a lot of two-way players. And if you've got a lot of two-way players, you'd better stay healthy. You have to stay healthy because three or four injuries I mean, you lose three kids that are two-way players, and you're really losing six.
Yeah.
So um, depth will be the big challenge, and can they develop enough depth from that 3 and 5 JV team last year to fill the holes and support these kids that are coming back? Health is going to be a critical issue for Forsan. I think on paper they have a chance of improving if they stay healthy. If they fail to stay healthy, and that's just a matter of luck. I mean, that's just you know, that's
Yeah.
luck. If the injury bug hits them, and every now and then it's going to hit everybody. If the injury bug hits them, they could really struggle. So we shall see. What hand fate deals them, but they've got to stay healthy.
And my last question kind of ties into the one you just had with depth, but particularly depth on the lines. I think this Forsan roster, when you look at it, they've got a lot of talent and a lot of experience at the skill position. Some guys that have really done some special things. You look at the receiver Hayden Bolin, a guy who's really explosive, a state qualifier in the 100 last year, who can really make plays down the field. They've got a quarterback in Coy Evans who got some playing time last year. They've got some weapons on the perimeter. They've got some speed. The big thing is going to be up front. They're going to need, particularly for those linemen, to stay healthy. They're not blessed with just a ton of depth up front, so I think that's going to be the big question too. Is how healthy will they stay up front? How will those guys be able to kind of stand up to the rigors of a full season? Because I think if they can stay healthy first of all and develop the way that you'd like to see it happen, I think they've got some skill guys that can make some things happen down the field. So, going to be interesting. I think that's going to be a lot of questions for this program, but I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that first year goes for Coach Phillips.
All right, we're going to take a quick look at Forsan Schedule. But before we do that, we need to thank some of our sponsors. Beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Brackenridge, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Bracken, KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is For the Love of the Game Broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a used vehicle, call Rob. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Give him a shout at 254 559 2266. That's Rob Durham up at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. And finally, Cavalry Resources and Construction, located up in Breckenridge, serving the entire big country, offering custom standing seam roofing made on location and all commercial roofing applications. Give Kobe Walker a shout at 254 246 5546. That is Cavalry Resources and Construction in Breckenridge. All right, and with that, it's time to take a look at Forsan's schedule for 2025. We'll start with the non-district portion. And of course, on August 28th in week one, it's the big rivalry. This is one of the biggest rivalries in the big country. These schools do not like one another. They're going to face Kahoma at Big Spring. That has become a tradition. That's on the 28th. On September 5th, they will play host to Post, and then they'll travel to Stanton, another rival, on September the 12th. They'll face Wink at home on the 19th, and then they'll travel to Ropesville to face Ropes on September the 26th, and then they'll dive into the off week.
Yeah, they have the same open date that everyone has in this district on October 3rd. They will kick off league play the following week, the 10th, with a home game against Sonora before traveling to Colorado City on the 17th of October. They'll then have back-to-back home games against Cristoval and Ozona on the 24th and 31st of October before wrapping up their district schedule at Reagan County on the 7th of November. So we talked about this yesterday with Colorado City. This is in my view, a pretty tough district, a very competitive district. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out for both of our teams in it, Colorado City and Forsan.
All right. The top game of the year for Forsan, the way I see it, the one that is an absolute must win, I think they have to beat Colorado City on the road in week two, um, because this league is so tough and it's so deep. You cannot afford to lose to one of the teams that is sort of in a rebuilding mode.
No.
Colorado City's changing coaches, and this is a team that if you lose, then you're in trouble because you're going to be a decided underdog in the rest of the games more than likely. Um, if you knock off Colorado City, then you have that chance of you focus on knocking one other team off and you see postseason play. But Colorado City, in my view, is a must win.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that the Sea City game is huge. The one kind of thing I would add to that probably is I think the first three are all big because once you get those final two against Ozona and Reagan County, those look like pretty tough games on paper. So you got
The whole
Sonora,
district's
Colorado.
tough. I mean, the whole
Oh, it
district is,
is,
is it's deep. It's
yeah,
tough.
we talked
Yeah.
about that with Colorado City last year, where you can be improved and it's still tough to look at that schedule and find wins sometimes because everybody's pretty competitive. So this is one of those districts where like this could be one of those where it's kind of a dogfight every night in that league. But yeah, I think those first three, Sonora, Colorado City, Cristoval, you got to find a way to get two wins out of that one, so you're not needing a win in those final two. With Ozona and Reagan County, two of the teams that finished toward the top of the district last year.
All right, and with that, it's just about time to wrap up this edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, the Forsan Buffaloes. But before we do that, we want to remind you folks that August 20th, that's the big day here at Big Country Preps. That's the day we release our annual preseason preview on the website. Don't forget to join us. We'll have previews for every team that we cover in the area. We'll have more than 40 player features, which is really a ton. We'll have stats, standings, predictions, you name it, we're going to have it. And Dan and I are not exactly modest when it comes to our predictions. We think our predictions are the most accurate for the big country in the entire state, and we have documented that. Actually, it really is. So don't forget, August 20th. That's the big day. Don't forget, join us.
In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series. And please come back tomorrow when we feature the Anson Tigers here at BigCountryPreps.com.